Hello, my name is Noelani, and I have been enrolled with the University of Alaska Southeast in Juneau since August of 2010. When I originally came to Juneau, my main focus was to pursue an art degree. It didn't take me very long to change courses to a bachelor's in business administration with an emphasis in entrepreneurship. After 11 long years with the university, I am finally on my last 5 classes, and I'm scheduled to graduate May of 2021. I have always been interested in running my own business, and that business has changed throughout the years. While I work side by side with my fiance, who is a photographer growing his own business, I have recently left my job to start my own Red Cross certification business, mainly focusing on first aid and CPR classes. For the last 5 years, up until recently, I had been the main instructor at the Diamond Park Aquatic Center in Juneau. It is there that I realized my passion for teaching and what sparked my drive to start my own business and venture out on my own into the various Southeast communities to establish myself. With that little bit of background, I have chosen to use the Juneau Pools and their first aid training program as the organization I wish to focus my research on. I have been involved in various parks and recreation organizations ever since I was a child, as my mother also worked for swimming pools in Anchorage and eventually moved to main office work for Parks and Recreation. I've been attached to the Juneau Parks and Rec since 2011, and I plan to be involved with them for as long as I live here in some capacity or another. My interest in using the Juneau Pools First Aid Program as the basis of my research is because they highlight a very real need within our communities, not just in Juneau, but Alaska as a whole. Because Alaska is so isolated, regardless of where you visit, it makes first aid and CPR trainings more difficult to implement within communities. Many businesses are already operating at higher overhead costs, so their ability to provide these life saving trainings to all of their employees doesn't seem like a reality or a priority to many of them. The other barrier to these trainings is the lack of instructors within the state. Most places that have an instructor on staff utilize those instructors solely for their business needs, which makes those instructors unavailable for other vitally needed trainings. During my time as the pool supervisor for the Diamond Park Aquatic Center, I witnessed a seemingly high demand for first aid and CPR classes, as well as lifeguard training classes, which is to be expected for a swimming facility. With so few organizations offering consistent trainings in town, my facility decided that they would take on teaching community courses to help meet the demand. We also offered private classes to businesses that wish to use our training services. What struck me as very interesting was the fact that so many people asked for first aid and CPR trainings, but when it came to offering the classes, we struggled to fill the classes with the minimum required participants. Since we were also running our own facilities, we had to meet a minimum threshold to be able to teach the class and ended up canceling many of the classes that we had scheduled and put on our calendars. I had such a difficult time understanding how classes could be in such high demand but fail to reach the enrollment numbers that we would expect to see. First aid and CPR training is so important for so many people, not just those in the medical fields. The more people that know how to perform proper first aid and CPR means more lives that can be saved. Many of the people that enrolled in the classes were there due to their work requirements, so still not enough people were enrolling. It seems that many businesses ideally would require their employees to have basic first aid and CPR training, but they don't actually implement them across their organization as a whole. The research I wish to do is to look deeper into why the demand is so much higher than the enrollments. What can businesses that are offering these classes do to reach not only businesses, but individuals in the community that have a need for these vital trainings? Are other institutions across the state struggling to enroll people within their classes as well? Also, one of the biggest problems that I feel like needs to be seriously considered is, does the community know that we are here and offering classes? When people do enroll for the classes, how do they find out? These are questions that I am hoping to answer with further research within the Juneau community and other communities throughout Alaska. After speaking with a few members of the local vocational training resource center ran by Lincoln and Haida, they have identified that many people within the organization have strong pull towards wanting more first aid and CPR trainings. The demand is there, but the enrollments are unfulfilled.